Hiya, loves. Welcome back to second episode of Pride Month. I am Nigel.
And I am Joshua.
That was bloody delayed there.
I think it's the connection thing because I said that straight away.
Okay. You probably did, to be fair, and we'll probably play this back and it'll probably be absolutely fine. Anyway, so we are back with the Gaily Digest, second episode of Pride Month, and this episode we are going to be having our usual bout of LGBT-related news. In Conversation is going to be very on topic this time because we're going to be talking about something that everyone has been talking about over the past couple of weeks. And then we've got our usual complaints closet where Josh is his usual moany old bitchy self. And that is our episode this week. So without further ado, let's crack on with the show. And now for some more Pride related news. So this week's Pride related news is about Norfolk County Council, and Reform UK took over Norfolk County Council and decided that there's going to be no flags. There's no pride flags, nothing, nada. So what have all the other councillors started doing as a form of protest and show of solidarity? They have started wearing pride badges after the flag snub. So council staff began wearing pride badges and displaying rainbows on computer screens following the administration's decision to stop flying LGBTQ plus and Ukraine flags at its headquarters. So Reform UK, who took over at Norfolk County Council last month, faced criticism for the policy but said it was entirely appropriate for only British and national local flags to be flown above the County Hall building in Norwich. So what do you think of this, Josh?
I think it's all virtue signalling nonsense, isn't it? Like the banning the flags and stuff. Although they haven't banned their lovely little England flag that they love to tug it over. I think in my area in Warwickshire, the fascist in chief that's currently in you're laughing at my little tug over the flag thing.
I am.
Yeah, they get aroused. They get aroused over the England flag. The fascist in chief that runs the council near me, he's actually banned rainbow flags, pride flags from being outside any council properties. He's also banning like libraries having pride books and all that stuff. And I have seen a lot of councils, and including Staffordshire as well, which isn't too far away, all the councillors have been hanging up pride flags out of certain buildings that in defiance of them. And I think that's kind of taken us back to the grassroots of pride, isn't it? It's a protest. So
yeah,
you've told me I can't do this, but I'm going to say to you, yes, I am, because I'm not going anywhere, and I'm going to let people. We're going to let people know they're welcome, and we're going to do it anyway.
This is the thing, isn't it? Pride at its core is a protest. And we've said that all along. Pride remains a protest at its core. It's also a celebration of how far we've come in the face of discrimination, adversity, and the inequality of LGBTQ plus people's treatment over the decades that have gone before us. And I do think it's great that we've got councillors that are snubbing the administrations that are banning these things. I mean, you mention about banning pride displays in libraries. Well, Essex County Council, that's reform-led now, are doing that very thing. They are trying to ban libraries, but I've seen libraries that have been defiant and have still put pride displays up, and I think that's brilliant because I don't think that the council should dictate what is in libraries, because libraries are a source of information. They're a source of reference where people can go to learn. You know, if people are out of school or anything like that, and they don't have smartphones or access to the internet or anything, because believe it or not, some people still don't. But people can go to libraries to do their research on things. And if you're taking something fundamentally like that away, then you're essentially saying education on those matters isn't important and doesn't matter, and people shouldn't know about it. It's effectively Section 28 version 2, isn't it? If you think about it.
Yeah, and I would say libraries are kind of like a bit of a safe space as well, because if they live in a very homophobic or anti-LGBT plus home, they can't be looking at things on their phone or computers in case they see it. So going to a library, finding a book, and maybe reading it at the library. You know what I mean? That's the kind of thing. But also, I just think when we start banning books, I think we're jumping straight back into like Nazi Germany style fascism, and I just don't understand why they want to ban books that they're not forcing children to read them. Some of them it's just books where a kid in the book happens to have two dads or two mums. It doesn't really make it the focus of the book. It just says such and such has two dads and a cat and a dog, and like, you know what I mean? It just makes it normalized to kids that some people have two dads, two mums, or whatever. I don't see how that's a bad thing, but also I know I keep mentioning it. I don't want to say his name because I can't stand him. The little mini-me fascist in Warwickshire. He said that they should ban all LGBT books because it's non-proven ideology. But he's like some big Bible thumper as well. So I'm thinking, I ain't being funny, but LGBT plus people are scientifically proven to exist. It is how we are. It's our genetics. Even with trans people, there is like thousands of scientific evidence reports and things going back hundreds of years of documentation that it's real, it exists. But then if we look at his lovely favorite book that he apparently reads every day, the Bible, there is no scientific evidence of any of that. That literally talks about bloody boats where bloody penguins come from all over the travel like 4,000 miles or something to jump on a boat, even though they can swim. It doesn't, and it says there was no dinosaurs, but there is. You know, so we don't ban that book when it's got no evidence.
The thing is,
you're going to say we should ban books because you don't like what's in them.
The thing about the Bible is obviously that is to do with faith and belief, and you know. I'm
just going on his logic.
And I agree. There is no scientific proof that anything that's said in the Bible is there, but it is that is about belief, and obviously we don't want to be going down that line of discriminating against people because of their beliefs, because that's not what we're about. We're not about discriminating against people. But the logic that you're highlighting there, you know, that there is scientific proof that being gay is part of our genetics. It's part of who we are. It's being trans as well. It's all to do with our biology, with our genetics and everything to do with that. So, you know, I agree with you to that point. But it does baffle me that you get a certain section of society, and it's probably more of a minority in society, but it's a more vocal minority that feel empowered to discriminate against LGBTQ plus people. And I think that's been emboldened all the more recently because of politicians, local politicians, councils, this, that, and the other, that are veering more to the right and being more outspoken. And because they're in positions of power, it's almost like nobody can really touch them and they get away with it.
Well, I think that I just want to say though first, I've always said I'm an atheist. I don't believe in religion, everything like. But I still think if you want to, you should be able to go to a library and you should be able to find a Bible or a Quran or whatever other religions read. There should be books on Hinduism and you know what I mean, and Islam.
Absolutely.
And all that because it's a library, it's knowledge. Like if I ever wanted to counter these Christians, I would probably need to read a Bible so I can counter them with things in it. So I
Mm.
should be able to go, if I wanted to, I should be able to go and get a Bible to read. So I don't understand why you'd want to ban any books unless they're like teaching you to like make weapons or whatever.
Mm.
But books that are just knowledge, I don't understand why you'd ban them. But
And
then
this
I
is,
think that it's the leaders like Farage that has caused this.
mm,
He says things like recently he's been sending out emails saying it's two-tier policing against white people. Now, when people like that with power say things like that, it's giving people a free pass to repeat it and start shaping the world in how they want it to be. It's the same with Trump and all these other reform candidates and things. They parrot all of these disgusting, dehumanizing comments and lies, and then it just gives people a free pass to think, oh, I can just say it then, because if the president can say it of America, then I can say it.
mm.
You
It's,
know
I
what I
mean,
mean?
it's a good point that you make though about, if you wanted to learn about religion, if you wanted to learn about the Bible, or, you wanted to learn about other religions as well, you'd want to be able to go to a library to find that source material. So you'd like to find a Quran, you'd like to find a Bible, for example, and if people would start saying, right, well, we don't like religion, we don't like this, we don't like that, so we're going to ban religious books in libraries. Imagine the uproar, and rightly so.
Yeah,
It's
because the thing is that the libraries are meant to be for everybody,
yes,
and people who are religious use libraries. People who are
exactly.
gay use libraries. People who are trans use libraries. Kids use libraries. Adults, you know what I mean? So that there should be there's all sorts of books for it. There's people who like cooking. They can go and look for cookbooks. There's
Mm.
like gay. If I want to go and if I want a book about like a gay love story, I can go and probably go and find one.
And
Or if
this is the
someone
thing,
wants a
isn't it?
religious book, it's in there. You know what I mean?
This is the thing, if you were to get to a point where, a parent had their child come out to them and they did not know how to react, how to behave, how to respond, then if they wanted to go to a library to find books, source material to help them to understand so that they could support their child, then, banning stuff like that from the libraries, then how are they going to do that? How are they going to be able to learn and be supportive?
It's a very slippery slope when you start banning books. But the way I see it is because I've got family that used to foster kids. When I was a teenager, we had a lot of foster kids. Um, and the way I saw it was if the foster kid was going to somebody who was two men or two women or whatever, you could give them a book that explains like a little story that kind of explains about someone having two dads or something. So it kind of
Mm,
gets them understanding that that happens, that's normal.
mm,
If
yeah,
that's the kind
exactly.
of way, or if there's kids being bullied at school that are different or that are, you know what I mean, that are trans or anything, they could read them out in classes where it just mentions them, and then all the other kids know these people exist, and that's doesn't matter. It's fine. It's just it's not teaching them about how to have sex and stuff. This is the problem is they're so obsessed with sex and kids and stuff. It's quite creepy because as soon as you
Mm,
mention trans people, they just think or gay people, they just think of sex and kids. And I don't like if someone mentions to me a trans person, I just think of a trans person. I don't think of a trans person and then sex and kids. Like, I don't understand. They
and
always go to
and toilets as well. That's what
yeah.
they focus on as well. And
Anything to do with genitals.
mm, it's
They're
just
obsessed.
it's just
They think
it's obsessive and it's repetitive,
I think they
isn't
think
it?
these books just have full on pornography in them and stuff. When if
Mm,
they probably can't read anyway, to be honest. But when you look at although they are picture books usually, so you think they would have liked them, but they're just teaching kids to not be assholes like the parents. Just be
yeah,
nice and treat everybody the same. I don't understand why you'd be so against
that's the
making
thing.
people be nicer.
But that's the thing. Education is important. Right, it's time for a chat, and we are chatting about this week something that people have been talking about for the last couple of weeks. It's something that has been on TV. It is something that has been very hard hitting and worryingly close to reality. And that is, of course, the new Russell T Davies 5-part miniseries, Tiptoe. Now, we thought it would be apt to talk about that in our In Conversation segment this week, because it has been the topic of quite some conversation, not just amongst ourselves, but amongst a wider range of people around how hard-hitting this drama was, how close to reality it was, the messages that they were getting across. And for those of you listening, if you have not watched Tiptoe yet, then you should probably pause this episode and come back and listen to the rest of it once you have watched it, because there may very well be some spoilers coming up. So, Josh, what do you think about Tiptoe?
It devastated me. Well, I'm not even joking. Like, I spaced out. We both watched it together, but we spaced out the episodes. So I didn't binge it because I knew after watching It's a Sin, binging it is not good for me. So we did space it out, but from the get-go, you know what's coming. And even though I knew what's coming, it hit me like a ton of bricks on that last scene. And I was even finding myself struggling to go to sleep that night. And I'd wake up in the middle of the night and I'd still be thinking about it. And I was getting quite upset over it. So yeah, this one really did hit me and stick in my head. But what I had to do for me, because my brain kept going back to it, that ending scene. So I kept going on to Alan Cummings' Instagram, because he posted a lot of videos of him laughing and dancing with the people that were playing the bad roles in this show. So it kind of it broke my mindset into thinking, oh, it happened. It was kind of telling my brain it didn't happen, it weren't real. You know, it was trying, and you know what I mean.
It's almost like
it's almost like
it broke. Yeah, it's almost like it broke the fourth wall, didn't it? And made you realise actually it's not real, even though there's an element of it that feels real.
Well, very world, in situations, but not. This was a drama, but yeah, I definitely had to try and. I don't know. It just felt like it connected me so well with all the characters that when things happened to them, it just made me feel really upset. Like it completely made me. My brain wasn't saying, "Oh, it's just a show." Like it felt like they were real people that I was experiencing them going through something, and it really did upset me.
I think that's testament to not only Russell T Davies' writing, because when it comes to LGBTQ plus dramas and shows, Russell T Davies knocks it out of the park, because he conveys all the messages that need to be told, all the stories that need to be told, in his writing so well. And also, it's an absolute testament to the acting that was portrayed by the cast in Tiptoe, in particular Alan Cumming and David Morrissey. I mean, David Morrissey's character, I was just left hating him. And anytime I see a picture of David Morrissey, whether it be from another show or anything like that, I hated him. Because, and not because he's a bad person, because David Morrissey as a person isn't, but I think his acting just made me hate him. It was so
Yeah,
powerful. It was so
he,
strong.
he played it so
And
well.
yeah, I mean, Tiptoe, obviously, for those that are still listening, that maybe haven't seen it, that are going to see it, and or whatever. But Tiptoe is basically the story of two neighbours and their progressive decline as neighbours or friends or whatever, or associates. We see Leo, who's our main character, who's the gay character. Um, and we see Clive, who's his neighbour, who's heterosexual. He's got a family. He's got a wife. He's got two young boys. Oh, I say two young boys. He's got two boys. One's 16 and one's 22, 25, something like that. And we gradually see his decline through that's caused through his own bigotry. And there are elements there where I think he tries to understand it. He tries to be tolerant, be accepting of the LGBTQ plus community, but there's that rage that sits at the bottom of him, and it's just building up and building up and building up over time. No matter how hard he tries to get along, to understand and be supportive, he just doesn't. And I think that's what ultimately builds up to the climax of the show, which, as you say, we know what's going to happen because that's how the final scenes were briefly played out at the beginning of each episode as it went along. And despite knowing that was going to be the outcome, you kind of still had hope. I know that I certainly do. You kind of still had hope that that wasn't going to be the outcome, that that was just maybe a metaphor for
What could happen.
of what could happen. And I just felt that, this is just going to be a really bad dream, and that's how it's going to be played out. But no, there was that absolute shock horror of those final scenes in that last episode. And I won't lie, they reduced me to tears because it is reminiscent of the way society is going. I mean, there was so much to unpack from the show. There was so many messages in there as well. I mean, there was stories about tackling trust, stories about betrayal. There was addressing HIV stigma because Leo is HIV positive, and he takes his daily pill, his daily medication, which means that he's undetectable, which means that he can't pass it on, and he's living a very healthy life, living with HIV. And I think that very beautifully and very subtly as well addressed the HIV stigma that a lot of people still face today and shouldn't face, because as we know, it's not the death sentence that it was once seen as. But again, it also, as it played along, highlighted that there is still that stigma amongst a certain section of society. Because when George, the younger character, the younger son of Clive's, discovered that he was taking his medication, there were those comments of he's HIV, he's infected, he's diseased, this, that, and the other, and it's like almost like he was trying to hide and suppress his sexuality as well.
I think that was more of using it as a shield. So fire the attention back onto that person and away from me. But I think what hit me the most is this could literally be anybody's neighbor at the moment.
Yeah.
Because we see a lot of people that at first they make sly comments that are ignorant, and they think things that aren't true, and then they go on social media, which was shown in this, and they start seeing nonsense that isn't true, or they start seeing violence, and it just progresses, and they just get more angry. And I feel like he was a bit closeted, actually, Clive, to be honest, because at one point he was a bit attracted to someone who was in drag. So
Yes.
I think a lot of it is they see us being our true selves, and they're kind of envious of that. That you can
Mm,
just you like what you like, you do what you do, you just live your own life. And I think they're trapped in this little heteronormative bubble. A lot of these kind of men, they see us walking a certain way is not manly, or if you'd wear something that's pink, you're too girly. You know what I mean? They're trapped in this bubble of it's such a closed little box. And when they see people that don't fit in that box and they can just enjoy themselves and wear what they want, do what they want, I think they get envious of that, and that anger inside, they take it out on that person.
yeah. And there was the other thing as well, because it kind of addressed a lot of the harmful tropes that we as a community face, and one of them in particular is the trope around how people always seem to associate homosexuality, being transgender, being lesbian, being bisexual, as if it equates to the same as being a paedophile. Because there was a moment in the series, in one of the episodes where excuse me, where obviously George was caught breaking into, or caught popping around Leo's house, much against Leo's wishes. Leo didn't know about it, but it was when the mum and the dad, Clive and his wife, they were having that discussion of how they were going to play on the fact that he's a gay man, he's a 16-year-old kid, as if he was luring him round there.
Yeah, and
So
even with his logic, even with Leo's logic, when he said, "Why would I bring you round to my house to get something if I knew that your son was in my house?"
yeah,
But even that logic doesn't go in his head. The rage just blinds him.
yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, it sort of, and this is what I mean about how it addresses all these harmful tropes that people associate with the LGBTQ plus community. I mean, it's like we hear it all the time. Comments on social media: "Stay away from kids." We're not going near kids. We've got no desire to go near kids. I really don't get where all that comes from. Um, but as a series, I just think the storytelling, the story from start to finish, which takes place over a 10-day period, I just thought was incredibly powerful. And I mean, It's a Sin was incredibly powerful. And I mean, that reduced me to tears. The moment finding out Richie had died before
On
his
his
friends
own.
could, on his own, before um, his friends could see him that one last time, because his mum kept him away from them, or kept them away from him, and it also highlighted how misinformation can spread around, someone who can't speak for themselves, who can't defend themselves after he's died. How people have made an assumption on him. Um, but I just thought it was I can't speak highly enough of it, and I really urge people to go and see it. I mean, it tackles homophobia, it tackles transphobia. It's got a nice diverse cast.
I think it could have focused a bit more on the current transphobia. Because Leo has, is it his best friend?
Yes, Z.
Yeah, she's gender critical. I don't think that was challenged enough, in my opinion. I feel like she should. I know it's difficult because it
Do
was
you mean
only four. Was
you
it
you
four episodes?
do you mean Steph?
Yeah, is that his best? Is that his friend or his sister? I think
That's his
it's his
friend.
friend.
Friend,
Yeah,
yeah. Because Z
I
Z
just
was the
feel
trans woman.
like, yeah, I meant the one who was at the end and the start and stuff.
Yeah.
I just feel like maybe that should have been. I feel like that should have been challenged a bit more. I know it's difficult because it wasn't many episodes. Because I think whenever she said something that was transphobic, I think it was kind of quickly moved away from it and laughed off, kind of thing. Like, I'll stop being silly, that kind of thing. So I think that could have been better, but I think just seeing like even like the DJ that was in Leo's bar, that was the drag queen. They were a teacher, but they would say they would have their students would come into this bar. As soon as they saw them, they'd be quickly on the walkie-talkie to Leo, say, "I need to leave in case they see me," which eventually ends up with them seeing them. And it's just little bits like that that just shows even now there's still so many of us that are hiding or can't be ourselves because of people that will be violent against us. And I think that's what made this more upsetting to me, because it's very current and we're slipping into, because it's set now. And I just think that we're slipping into this so quickly, and we are slipping back so fast. Like we've spoken about, like they're banning the pride flags, they're taking away funding for parades, they're banning LGBT books in libraries. It's happening so quickly. That's what made it even more scary, because it just feels like It's a Sin was set when I was younger. It's kind of like a history drama to me. This one is like when I leave my home now, that's the world I'm walking into. I think that's why it's so scary.
It's showing the rapid decline in LGBTQ plus rights, LGBTQ plus support, and it's showing how society is shifting more to the right, and people are being more bold in behaving and doing certain things towards us because of who we are. And I think that sort of comes out at the end when there's that group mentality, that sort of pack mentality, where a group of them then come together in one common cause to attack Leo and ultimately kill him. And I think that just goes to show that you get that pack mentality with a section of society, and that's how they'll all behave, because they feel empowered, they feel emboldened by the support around them to behave in that way. And I think, to me, that's how that came across. That's how that presented to me. But obviously, everyone will have their own perceptions and interpretations of all the different things that happen throughout that show. I mean, touching on the topic of the transphobia in there, obviously there were elements that were highlighted around transphobia. I mean, there was the bit where Z, was it in the first or second episode, where she goes back to her house to get her things because she's fearful of her housemates because of the language they use, the way they behave, and threats to kill her because of who she is, and the comments and the names that she was called because she's trans, and how that was tackled. I mean, that was tackled obviously from a serious point of view of the genuine fear that trans people, I think, are feeling today in today's society. But I think he tried to make light of it a little bit with the other lady pulling that machine gun out of the back of the car, and I'm like, where did that come from?
I did find that a bit bizarre, to be honest.
I thought, where the hell did that come from?
Yeah, it was bizarre. But I think, like, I think what the ending that got me it's the way they did it. And it was his lines at the end where he said, "You've got your flag, we're sick of it, and this is our flag." And then they hung him up. And I just think it's when, and he was begging and stuff, and it was when they were pulling him up, and then when they tied it off, and then when they let go and he did that little drop, that is what hit me. That little drop was kind of like someone punched me in the stomach. It was like that was the final. That was it. It was done. that drop was done. There was no turning back now. You can't
Mm.
get him down.
And I
And
think
yeah,
I think the reference he was making also to the flag element is this whole argument over flags, the raising of the England flag all around and stuff like that, because the tops that they were wearing were effectively England flag colours. It was the red and white, So I think that was reference to this mentality of this obsession with flags that they're having, that the right are having. So I thought that was quite clever, but also quite brutal in the depiction of how they did that. And if anything, I mean, I think I've read somewhere that Russell T Davies specifically wanted this to go out at the start of Pride Month for the very reason that it's there to educate, it's there to highlight why we've always needed Pride, why we still need Pride, and why Pride still remains so important to so many people in the community.
I just wish it was talked about more on TV
Mm,
and radio because I haven't heard it mentioned on the radio and I haven't seen it mentioned on any like data. I know they can't show it, but when you get daytime TV that discuss dramas and things
mm,
about murders and all these kind of things and documentaries, they do like segments on it, and I've not seen any of them discuss this. And I just feel like it's Pride Month. Everything does feel a bit quieter this year for
mm.
Pride. Pride feels a bit less colourful this year. Um,
Yeah, I'd agree with
and
you. Agree with you on that. It does seem to have gone a bit quieter than usual, than most years.
yeah, and I just think that I think these daytime TV shows and radio stations, I think they should be talking about this. It should be in the papers and magazines and things mentioning this because I think the more people that watch it, they will realize how scary it is.
Mm,
And they'll see people just being themselves, doing their own thing. And then ultimately, someone who just wanted to help other people gets murdered just because the simple fact that they happen to be gay.
mm. No, I think the other thing to sort of take away from how impactful Tiptoe has been for us, I think it's how relatable the characters are as well, because they've all got qualities, they've all got aspects about them, about their personalities, that I think anybody that's been through what they depict in the series, they can relate to it. I mean, we've all been at that stage where we've been young, not out, and we've either wanted to experiment or we've gone looking online or to sort of go to certain websites and things like that or using certain apps. We've all been at a stage where we've realized who we are. We're not quite accepted it, but wanted to understand it. And that's exactly what George goes through in the story. You've got Melba, who's lived through Section 28 and can see that our existence is political, or it's being made political. There was that very powerful speech that Melba did in, I think it was the first or second episode, and I just think that was quite impactful. That was quite powerful. You've got Leo, who is living with HIV, and there's going to be people out there that are living with HIV that can relate to him and the stigmas that he's faced, the abuse that he's faced, the isolation that he's felt, the discrimination. And you've got Z, who has been experiencing transphobia, has been going through transitioning and understanding herself, and also that one of the things I really loved was the episode where she's choosing her forever name, and I thought that was it. It was beautifully done, and there are people out there, trans people out there that will have gone through similar and will be able to relate to her as well. So, I mean, there's so much to unpack from Tiptoe. There's so many messages there. There's so many relatable aspects of the show for people. I think that's what resonates with a lot of people as to why. And I've seen comments from people on social media where they've been absolutely devastated by the ending, but how very real it feels, and how society seems to be veering that way, and how we should be worried, we should be concerned, and we should still feel and have the courage to be ourselves without fear of discrimination. But we can only do that through education, through pride, through supporting each other, and generally being stopping all this infighting. Stopping all this. It's LGB, not LGBT. No, it's LGBTQ plus. There is no LGB without the TQ plus. And we've always said that, and we always stand by that. But yeah, that's Tiptoe. I think if you haven't seen it and we haven't spoiled it for you, go and see it. It's available on all four, where you can stream it for free, or if you subscribe to it, you can stream it and not have adverts.
Although the adverts might give you a little emotional break. I personally wouldn't binge watch it. Because
Maybe an episode.
It is. I'd say an episode a day or every other day, because it is a very emotional ride. It hits you like a brick wall.
It's a roller coaster of emotions, isn't it? I think definitely a roller coaster of emotions. But yeah, Russell T Davies, you're probably not listening, but if you do, by any chance, thanks for another wonderful series. It's been amazing. It's now time for Josh to be a moany old bitch again. It's the complaints closet. It's most people's favourite part of the show, I think. I think they just love to hear you rant. So, who's going first this week, Josh?
I'm going to be nice and let you go first.
Oh, thanks.
Totally not because I don't know what I'm moaning about yet.
You just need a bit of time. Yeah. It's not like you're unprepared or anything. Anyway, so my complaint this week is something that's recent. It's happened recently, quite regularly, and it's bloody temporary roadworks and temporary traffic lights that are popping up everywhere. That always seem to be popping up this time of the year as well. They are literally, they'll do a road closure on one road, and then a couple of roads around, there's another one with more temporary traffic lights. It's worse when you get it at junctions where there's 4 points to the junction. So there's 4-way bloody traffic lights, which then adds on about 20 minutes to your journey of your day. And it's like, it's not like it's just the highways agency to blame here, because ultimately it's often different companies. So it could be like the water board, it could be electricity companies, it could be gas companies, it could be highways doing repairs to the road, but they never seem to coordinate with each other, and you tend to find there's shitloads of roadworks and temporary traffic lights throughout the entire town for weeks on end, which makes it nigh on impossible to get around in a reasonable amount of time. And you're probably adding on about 10, 20 minutes, 30 minutes to your journey every day because of it. I hate it. It really, really frustrates me. They just do it. There's no coordination. They just do it all the same time, and it's everywhere. And you being a new driver must have gotten used to this happening.
Gotten used to it. Well, I think you can blame the council for the planning kind of side, because don't they have to ask for permission from the council to close roads and things?
It's either that or they have to get permission from highways, don't they?
So whoever gives them the permissions, they're the ones who should be coordinating it, to be honest.
But But it's just so frustrating.
It is, because half the time they set them up like 4 days before they actually do anything.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
half the
that's
roads blocked or closed, and you don't see anyone there or anything for days
that's
and days
that's
and days.
that's another thing that really frustrates me because, as you say, the roadworks can be there for days and days and days. No one's doing any work, nothing, right? The temporary traffic lights fail, so there's no one on site to manage them, and then it causes utter chaos and total gridlock because people are jumping through the single lane, and no one wants to give way because they've been waiting for 10, 20 minutes, half an hour, and it's like every person for themselves.
Yeah,
which I,
and
I
then
which I kind of get because if I was one of those stuck in there and I'd been waiting for bloody ages, and then people were crossing over onto my side of the road to try and get through the gap and not giving way, I'd be a bit annoyed as well. But it's just the chaos that it causes.
well, even when they're finished with them, they don't remove all the stuff for days again. So there's days on each end where it causes trouble when they're not doing
Mm.
anything.
Yeah.
And specifically in my area at the moment, being the new driver, there was a road closed it's like a shortcut, a country lane that I take to go to my mum's, and it said it was closed, but there was like a yellow diversion sign. And I don't normally go that other way, so I thought, oh, it's a diversion sign. I'll just follow the diversion sign. It'll take me where I need to go. No, because somebody else doing more roadworks further away also has diversion signs. So then I get to one junction and there's a diversion sign for two directions. And I'm like, well, which one do I follow? There was no symbols or anything. They were the same.
Oh.
Exactly.
I was going to come up.
Nigel,
I was
I
going to come
know
back with an
I
answer there.
passed. No, I passed my Nigel. I passed my theory test. I know the answer. There should have been a symbol like Squid Games, like a triangle or something, so I know that's what I follow. But no, it was just a yellow sign saying diversion with an arrow, and they both pointed different directions. And I was like, well, where the fuck do I go?
Maybe they all came out at the same spot, and it was like, take your pick. It's pot luck. You can go whichever way you want.
Honestly, the organisation of these roadworks.
Mm.
And actually, they closed the road at the end of my road the other day, and they closed out one lane. And where I live, it's very narrow roads anyway, because it's like a little tiny village. And as soon as I come out my road and turn right, there's traffic lights, which has already triggered me, because this was at like 8:30 in the morning when I was on my way to go out, and I was like, it's too early for this. And they put the cones in the middle of the road, but they put them so far over, I could barely fit down the road. Like I was like an inch from the curb and the cones. There was barely any room. And I thought, this is a buzz route as well. The buzzes are not going to be able to fit down there.
Mm.
So I don't know what vehicle they expected to be able to fit down there, but it was so narrow. And I was like, there's no judgment here again.
Well, the way they should be doing it is thinking about, right, can an emergency vehicle get through there, like a fire engine or an ambulance, because they're obviously the bigger vehicles out of emergency vehicles. Would you be able to swing that round there easily enough, or would it make it very difficult or too narrow for it to get through?
But the thing is, though, when I looked at them as I drove past, they were doing work on the green, like a BT box, which is on the path. So why the fuck have you closed half the road? You're on a path.
Yeah, I don't get that either, but I'm guessing, I'm going to hazard a guess, it's something to do with if they're working there and they're on the path, they've got to allow for the pedestrians to have a safe walking route, and also it's for the protection of them, so they need the extra, because if you get a car that mounts the curb and goes into them, because some
but the
drivers
thing
are idiots.
You can picture it. The path was blocked off, and so was the road, and there's no path on the other side because it's a woodland, so there's no path there. So they have to go in the road anyway if they want to walk around it. And why is there traffic lights? Why is there barriers, like orange cones, three-way traffic lights, and a road closure for the work on a green box that's not even in the road?
Absolutely no idea.
Exactly.
Absolutely no idea. Anyway, what are you complaining about this week? Because it sounds like kind of partially hijacked mine there.
I know.
I hope you got something different.
Mine does actually involve the council as well, kind of. I'm going to complain about the collection bins.
Collection bins. It sounds a bit of a rubbish complaint.
No, bear with me. Bear with me.
That went over your head, didn't
Listen, we used to have a black bin, or as back in your day, one of those round metal things. So, black bin, yeah. Then it turns into a black bin and a green bin. Then it turns into a black bin, a green bin, and a black bin with a red lid with a box in it. So then I've got to have normal rubbish, then garden rubbish. Then I've got to separate cardboard from cans, but also wash all the cans and jars as well. And now they've added, in my area anyway, a food waste thing. 2 of them. So I've got to put all my food waste in this little bin in my kitchen to bag up to then put outside in the other separate bin. And I've also got to there's a separate battery one. So if I want to do batteries every week, I have to put batteries out. And there's also one now for small appliances like toasters and stuff. So
who's routinely chucking out small appliances?
I don't know, but where am I going to put all these bins?
That would be a very expensive lifestyle to just toaster. I don't want that anymore. Just chuck it or get a new one.
But like, where
can't be bothered to clean.
Where do they expect to put all these bins?
Outside.
Yeah, but there's only so much space, and the green bin now, you have to pay for it.
Oh, it's a bit like our area. We had the brown bins, which was for like your garden waste and stuff like that.
Yeah, but if I'm already, why is it not green? That makes more sense for a garden.
I don't know.
But why have I got to pay for you to empty the green bin when I already pay council tax? And it covers all the other bins.
It's just money making, isn't it? They want to make more money.
So now I've got a black bin for normal rubbish. Then I've got a green bin for the garden stuff. But apparently you're not allowed to put soil in it, so that's contradictory. Then I've got the recycling bin that has a bit for card and then a bit for tins and glass and whatever else. Then I've got a little tiny green bin to go outside where I have to put the bags of the food waste. And then I've got another tinier version of that bin that goes in the house that I put the food waste in. Then I've got my normal bin in the house as well. And now I've got a fucking battery one to collect and a fucking toaster one. What's next? There's going to be a bin for sofas or something. What's next? Am I going to have a skip? Every month I get a skip. Like what's next? What's the next bin we're going to end up with? I bet you there's going to be a bin just for liquids.
Probably.
There'll be something, and it's driving me mad.
Probably.
I can't keep up.
You know, there'll be a bin for liquids, and all your food waste, when that starts degrading and then it forms liquid at the bottom of the bin, you've got to then tip that into the liquid bin routinely.
So now I've got 5 bins. 5 bins.
Lucky you. I've just got 4.
And they also put a letter on the black bins of the day, because someone must have been doing this. Like, please don't chuck your bedding into the black bin. Like old bedding.
That'll be the next bin.
Then I thought, well, where do you put the bedding? Is there going to be like a clothing bedding bin? Like, what do you do with that? See what I mean? So they've just told someone they can't put someone else in there. So that's going to be another bin. It's going to be fabrics, materials.
Yeah. And you're going to have to pay for it as well, because it's going to be something extra. Because it's going to be an extra collection.
It's going to be like Netflix, isn't it? Subscription every month, and if you don't pay it, they don't take your rubbish.
Yeah. Your subscription is going to depend on how many bins you have. So whether it's like the standard definition with adverts, standard definition without adverts, HD without adverts, HD with adverts, and then 4K without with adverts and 4K without adverts. So it's going to be like you're going to pay the premium service for all the bins, or you can have a couple of bins with some adverts stuck on them.
Honestly, though, I'm getting sick of all these bins. I don't know if they give me another bin. I genuinely don't know where I'm going to put it. There is no more room for bins. I just don't know what, like, when it's bin day, you should see the street. It's like an army of bins. There's just bins everywhere.
You know what? It does, given how tiny and narrow your street is, it does surprise me that the bin lorries can actually get up there to get all those bins.
I know.
It really surprises me.
It's just getting ridiculous of how many bins there are now, and I can't keep up with them. And I feel like we're going to end up with even more bins.
Dear, oh dear.
It's driving me mad. But when I used to live in that apartment, it was great because I had one big bin. It was just a big communal bin, and you just throw everything in the bin, and that's it. It's done. But no, now I've moved into a house. I've got like 70 bins, and I'm going to end up having a bloody rainbow. Oh, we like Pride actually. I'm going to have like a rainbow of trash cans to put all my crap in.
Maybe that's what they need to do. Maybe they need to have a different colour for each lid, and each of the bins can be a colour of the Pride flag.
I just feel like
suggest that to old George Finch, the school bus Grinch, leader of the Warwickshire County Council.
Only I'll start twitching. Although he probably wants one just for books. He's not a fan of books. He doesn't read.
Obviously.
Yeah, that's my complaint. Too many bins.
Lovely. Well,
very adult. This complaint.
Yeah. Very grown up, aren't we?
Yeah, sometimes.
And that is all we've got time for this week. We hope that you've enjoyed the show. I've enjoyed myself. Have you enjoyed yourself, Josh?
I have, but I've had enough of you now, so I'm going to go.
Oh, thanks very much. That's so kind of you.
You're welcome.
So loving, aren't you?
I am.
But yes, we hope that you've enjoyed the show as much as we have enjoyed bringing it to you. It is coming to the end of Pride Month. We've got about a week left of Pride Month now. And as we've said before, if you are going to any Pride events over the Pride season, because it's not just a month that we have Pride events, it is an entire season that we have, and too right too, because they're all over the country. But if you're going to one, please make sure that you have a good time, you enjoy it, you make sure you celebrate it for its true meanings, and make sure that you support anyone and everyone that is going. And most importantly of all, please, in the current climate, please stay safe. That is the most important thing. And if you are subjected to any kind of hate crimes or anything like that, please do report them, because it's so important that we make sure that we make a stand against hate and division in our society. But overall, have a great Pride season. Thanks for listening. Until next time, stay safe and be happy.